the biggest barriers for women-led SMEs in accessing trade or supply chain finance include limited knowledge of trade finance tools and insufficient collateral and constrained cash flow. This is the main barriers usually SMEs and women-led SMEs face. And many women entrepreneurs and SMEs are unfamiliar with the instruments such as letters of credit and bank guarantees. And they also tend to operate with a smaller asset base and does not have stable or sufficient cash flow. Which makes it very challenging for them to meet the requirement of bank for financing.
Welcome to Trade Treasury Payments, the podcast unlocking the future of cross-border finance.
From transaction banking and money movements
to liquidity, treasury, and cash management.
We bring you expert insights and the latest trends shaping global finance.
Welcome to the show. This podcast is in partnership with the Asian Development Bank's Trade and Supply Chain Finance Programme. My name is Eleanor Hill, and in today's episode, we're going to explore how women in business, particularly women-led small and medium enterprises, access finance and trade-related banking support across Asia. So just looking globally for a moment, women-owned SMEs continue to face a significant financing gap. This is well known, it's well documented. So just some recent data shows that women-owned businesses account for roughly 34% of the total unmet SME finance gap. That's an estimated $1.9 trillion shortfall in developing markets alone. So that's just to put in context some of the challenges that we're dealing with here. And then if we look at Asia specifically, in particular Southeast Asia and beyond, research shows that women entrepreneurs are much less likely than men to have strong business networks and those formal financial histories that then go on to limit their access to structured finance. So today, to discuss all of this, we've got two senior banking leaders joining us, and we're going to hopefully unpack the barriers, look at some of the solutions, and what financial institutions can do to support women-led firms more effectively. So I am absolutely delighted to be joined today by FTB Bank's Lyda Vannak. She is Senior Manager of Trade, Sale and Transaction Banking Office, and she has 18 years of banking experience in transaction banking, trade finance and product development with various commercial banks. And alongside her, we have Golomt Bank's Unengerel Chuluunbat, and she currently serves as the Director of Trade and Structured Finance Department. She's responsible for shaping the bank's trade finance business strategy, driving sales, and overseeing product and service development. Ladies, welcome to the show. It is absolutely great to have you here, and we're delighted to be able to have this conversation with you. So I just wanted to kick off by setting the scene a little bit for our listeners. So across your markets, just give us a sense of what you see as the biggest barriers for women-led SMEs when it comes to accessing trade finance or supply chain financing. And I would love to get both of your perspectives on this, but Unengerel, maybe you could kick us off.
Yeah, firstly, thank you very much and good evening. Yeah, this is a very commonly discussed topic among all the economies. And the biggest barriers for women-led SMEs in accessing trade or supply chain finance include limited knowledge of trade finance tools and insufficient collateral and constrained cash flow. This is the main barriers usually SMEs and women-led SMEs face. And many women entrepreneurs and SMEs are unfamiliar with the instruments such as letters of credit and bank guarantees. And they also tend to operate with a smaller asset base and does not have stable or sufficient cash flow. Which makes it very challenging for them to meet the requirement of bank for financing.
Yes.
So in addition to have a limited experience in negotiating with international trade partners, this can also result in unfavorable terms, such as prepayment conditions that prevent them from leveraging their receivables for financing. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say this is the main barrier for SMEs and women in business.
Yeah, absolutely. Just means that they're at a disadvantage all of the time to those people that do know and do have access. Lyda, what would you add to that?
Okay, thanks so much. Today I'm very honored to be a specialist for the ADB podcast under the Women in Finance. Thanks for the question. The question is very important. Some business owners, they are not well prepared for the financial protection or claim. So they may face the challenge for seeking funding from banks. So the biggest barrier for the women lays accessing to the finance or the supply chain financing. The first is limited collateral or asset ownership, which is that many business owners lack formal ownership of land or property land, limited to their ability to provide the collateral for the loans. Secondly, the limit of the credit history and record for the loan assessment. And the third is the lack of trade finance awareness, capacity, and networking that many women-led SME lacks knowledge about the trade instruments like letter of credit, bank guarantee, standby letter of credit, or supply chain financing, as well as the limited access to the training in digital and technology skill. The woman entrepreneur often lacks the access of the trade networks, supply chain partnership, and the institutional support program that could help them to integrate into the global value chain.
Yeah, yeah, so many difficulties there, and I particularly like, Leader, that you mentioned the talent and training side of things as well, because it's so important to develop those skills. But interestingly, both of you have highlighted that so many SMEs, including particularly women-led firms, still don't actually have awareness of basic trade finance tools, even though we try and do as much in your jobs and in my job in terms of helping to educate people and get the word out there. Why do you think this knowledge gap is still very persistent, and what are the risks or missed opportunities as a result? And Unengerel, maybe come to you first.
Yeah. So Golomt Bank is a very known as a corporate bank, and we have a very strong corporate banking base. So that's why we very actively support trade finance business of our clients, maintaining over 40% of the market share in terms of issuing bank guarantees and letters of credit by numbers. And when we look at our trade finance portfolio, most of our trade clients are large corporates, and they are already very familiar with their products like bank guarantees, SPLCs, and letters of credit, as they actively use it. And they also clearly understand the advantages of these tools. Yeah, however, we see a completely different picture when it comes to SME clients. And many SMEs engaged in international trade have limited knowledge, experience with trade finance tools, so they rarely use them for overseas purchase. And this makes them vulnerable to cash flow pressure. And as a result, SMEs miss out better payment structure that could ease their cash constraints. And without appropriate trade instruments to support negotiations, they often find themselves in a weaker position.
Perfect. Lyda, anything you want to add to that in terms of why this knowledge gap persists and the risks or missed opportunities that happen as a result of them just not knowing that trade finance solutions exist?
Okay, thanks for the question. So from my understanding, we understand that trade finance instrument can be very complicated for the business owner due to the requirement for the document, payment term, and other term and condition. However, by meeting these requirements, they can save on the operational and transaction costs, reduce the payment risk, performance risk, reduce the cash flow constraint, and also increase the security as well.
Yeah, the
Right.
SME clients find it very difficult and complicated, and they avoid to use these kind of tools because they don't aware of it very much.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You are right. Support your idea and then get it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wish we weren't on the same page about it, but we absolutely are. We're all seeing the same issues here. So the thing that we have to look to is just more education, not only for clients, for those SMEs, but also, I guess, for frontline staff within the bank looking to improve access to finance for women entrepreneurs. So tell us a little bit about your experiences with that. What approaches are proving most effective? And Unengerel, give us a sense from your side.
Yeah, thank you. So since the main reason of our SMEs do not use these trade finance tools is their limited knowledge and lack of experience with these instruments. So to close this gap, the targeted training is very essential. Not only to raise awareness, but also to help SMEs understand how trade finance solutions can strengthen their international business operations. So SMEs, including women-led companies, are especially vulnerable to cash constraints. So ensuring that clients understand these opportunities is one of the most effective ways that bank can support their customers' growth. So equally important is the role of our frontline staff as they work more closer to the market. And if they are not fully familiar with trade finance products, they cannot guide clients or recommend the suitable solutions for their clients. So this is why investing in staff training is very critical. And when frontline teams are knowledgeable and confident, they can better support the customers,
Yeah.
build market awareness, and ultimately drive stronger and successful outcomes for their customers as well as the institution. So once the frontline people knows about the product, they start using it, and we see the result, yeah, in many situations.
Yeah, it's just a almost immediate cascade effect of that knowledge, but just keeping everyone up to date. And like you say, it doesn't necessarily have to start with the SME, just it can start within the bank itself with your own employees. Lyda, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I support her idea for that because the trade finance product and service is very technical for both for the client and also the frontline staff. To be honest, based on my experience, I think that the education is very crucial for the client and the frontline staff. Need a solid understanding of the financial literacy related to the trade finance utilization, the property financial protection planning. This knowledge is very essential for the collaborating with the formal financial institution to support client effectively. So overall, our team, both the lending team and also we call the TB team, trade transaction banking team, which is the frontline staff. We also provide the while training related to the trade product and service and how to tailor-make the solution based on the client need and goal to provide the real need and also the real product to the real need to the clients.
Yeah. Yeah, That makes complete sense. And it would be good, though, to explore a little bit more about what both of your institutions are doing. So we'll do a bit of a deep dive with each of you here, because I know you've got so much going on to increase that support that you've both just spoken about. So, Unengerel, let's start with you, because I know Golomt Bank has been running some SME trade finance workshops. You've got the internal programs, the training programs that we've spoken about briefly. But we'd love to know a little bit more about the actual impact that you're seeing specifically for women-owned or women-led SMEs who maybe previously traded only on a cash basis. So give us a sense of what's happened off the back of all of this effort that you've been putting in.
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. Yes, so to address all the gaps we mentioned above, we've launched trade finance workshop for our SME clients, which is held twice a year, and where we invite SME clients that are already involved in the international trade or planning to operate in import or export into our workshop. And we walk them through the trade finance tools that we can support their transactions with international partners. So in parallel, we also offer regular online and in-person case-based training for our frontline staff to ensure they can guide clients confidently and streamline the overall process. And additionally, we also have launched online trade finance modules on our internal training platform, which gives sales team very easy and on-demand access to the information and guidelines on the product and service, so they can easily access whenever they need. So really all these efforts are already started showing results. For example, our SME trade finance portfolio grew by 5% compared to last year, and our women-led business trade finance portfolio increased by 4%. So it has been especially rewarding to see clients who previously had no idea and awareness of these products and attend our workshop. And then just a few months later, they begin using these letters of credit and SPLC for their transaction. So seeing that transformation is really truly rewarding and making us proud.
Yeah, absolutely, and rightly so. It's an amazing result from the efforts that you've put in, and like you say, just knowing that you're helping people to trade in a more efficient way and getting better results for them. It's so rewarding. But it's not the only thing that you've been up to at Golomt Bank. I know you've got lots and lots of different programs going on, and one of them that really interests me was the work that you've done with the Mongolian Chamber of Commerce to launch this women-owned business trademark. It's something that's so different, and I absolutely love the concept. So tell us a little bit about how it's helping women-led companies to just gain a bit more visibility, credibility, and is it actually influencing their access to finance as well?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you very much for asking. So in 2023, Golomt Bank, in partnership with Mongolian Chamber of Commerce, has introduced the women-owned trademark to promote women-led businesses and to strengthen collaboration, expand training opportunities, and support their overall growth. And this is really a non-financial service initiative, which was led by our SME team. And we are proud to be the first bank in Asia to have launched this program. So far, we have shared our experience with 5 other Asian countries under the She Trades Hub of International Trade Center that are exploring similar initiatives. So to illustrate how this trademark works, for example, if you are a bottled water producer, placing the woman-owned label on your product immediately signals to the market that your business is woman-owned or woman-led. So this really helps consumers, partners, or lenders easily recognize and support women enterprises. Yeah. And the trademark also opens the door to a range of opportunities. So businesses using the label can also participate in special conferences and expand their professional networks, explore new partnership opportunities, and increase their visibility. So also they can join exhibitions and expos. So these are the incentives they are having when they have the woman-owned label. So these platforms helps women entrepreneurs access new markets and strengthen their business presence. So also in addition to that, in 2022, we also introduced a dedicated women business support loan with more favorable terms than our ordinary business loans. So thanks to our combined effort of our SME team, our women-owned business loan portfolio grew by 15% compared to last year, and number of our women business clients increased by 6% compared to previous year.
Wow.
Yeah, so we can see it have a positive impact it has brought. Yeah.
It's incredible, just thinking outside the box a little bit and making some effort specifically targeted to women. It really does pay off, and I love all the innovation that's coming out from it as well. Thinking about different ways to help people best, more targeted to their needs and their challenges. But I know it's not just Golomt Bank that's been up to all sorts of innovation. Lyda FTB has been doing lots of things as well. So you, for example, participate in the Women Entrepreneurs Guarantee Scheme. You recently joined ADB's Trade and Supply Chain Finance programs. Tell us a little bit from your side about how these initiatives have expanded opportunities for women-led SMEs in Cambodia.
Hey, enjoying this podcast? Hit that follow button for more. Done? Let's get back to it.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So related to that, so since we joined the program with ADB and also the Women Entrepreneur Guarantee Scheme, so we improve the access of the credit for the Women Entrepreneur Guarantee Scheme to provide the partial credit guarantee, reducing the collateral requirement for the woman entrepreneur that have to overcome one of the biggest barrier, lack of the asset ownership. And the bank also more willing to lend because the guarantee lower their risk exposure as well. Since they risk under the guarantee scheme or ADB guarantee. Yes. And another one, so increase the participation in trade transactions. Since we are joined with the ADB under the Trade Supply Chain Finance Program. ADB facilitate the trade transaction by providing the guarantee on the confirmed LC to global banks partner. And the woman-led SME can now access the instrument like the LC, bank guarantee, standby letter of credit, or supply chain financing, which is practically participated in the regional and also the global trade. And another one, also the tailor-made the trade solution based on the client need, like the trade finance loan, whether the pre-shipment or post-shipment financing to the women lead SME as well.
Okay. So
yes, and another one is related to the risk mitigation. Both the program reduce the perceived risk of the lending. The lenders makes financing more inclusive.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's doing the work on both sides so that everyone benefits from these initiatives. It has to work for the women-led SMEs, but it has to work for the financial institutions from a risk perspective as well. So it's very interesting to hear everything that's going on, that's joining up behind the scenes. But Lyda, one of the other things I wanted to talk to you about was that I know that when we've spoken before, we've spoken a little bit about there's actually quite a few women in trade operations and supply chain activities, maybe behind the scenes within Cambodia, and that they play a significant role there. So it'd be interesting to know how this growing representation, women in the workforce in this area, is shaping the way that trade finance services evolve at FTB.
Okay, thanks for the question. To me, women play a very important role in the business in general, not just in trade.
Yeah.
So So for the growing representation shaping the way the trade service grow at FTB, since we are participant in the Credit Guarantee Corporation of Cambodia to support the public guarantee scheme designed for the client to reduce the collateral barrier for the borrower, especially for the women-led SME seeking working capital. Another one solution that we are offer to the trade loan, which is including the pre-shipment and post-shipment that I mentioned earlier without the collateral. Again, the CGCC scheme. We also offer to the our client whether the business own is the not refer to the woman lead, both the woman lead SME or not. And another one, we also have the product. We have designed a loan products specifically for the woman lead. We call it woman entrepreneur loans. It has transformed for the traditional lending process to where the banking sector moving to the non-collateral lending best, where FTB is flexible to expand the support with the acceptable risk, offering a very flexible in terms of interest rate, fee, and some other term and condition where we can maximize their investment. And third, if the client just requires a confirmed LC to concern about the issuing bank country risk, we can accommodate this issuing ADB program we call ADB TSCFP for both export and import transaction. Last but not least, we also collaborate with the several international banks to ensure our trade transaction, including Standard Chartered, Commerce Bank, OCBC, and others.
Yeah. Oh, Lyda,
Yes.
thank you so much for the overview of everything that's going on. I feel like we need a whole separate podcast episode to talk about all of the innovation that's going on at FTB and at Golomt Bank. That it's amazing to just make the audience aware of all of these programs that are going on, whether they've got clients, SMEs that they want to roll out similar solutions for, or just helping to spread the word about what's happening from Golomt Bank and FTB. But just to finish up, ladies, I think we've spoken a lot about what we've done, what we're doing now to help make a change. But let's look a little bit to the future. So, if I were to grant you one wish, what would be the one change, whether that be in policy, in partnerships, product design, or more education, like we've spoken about already? What would be that one change that you think would make the biggest difference for women-led SMEs trying to participate more fully in international trade? So I know it's a really tough question, and I know it's very difficult just to pick one, but Unengerel, what would you say?
Yeah, it's really difficult to find the one change because it requires a collaborative effort of all the stakeholders. And many women entrepreneurs already have a strong product and market potential, but they lack access to practical guidance on trade finance tools and risk mitigation instruments. So when women business owners understand how to use these tools, letters of credit or bank guarantees, and other trade finance mechanisms, they gain the capacity to negotiate better terms to reduce payment risk and secure appropriate financing. and improve their cash flow management, and they can enter the market with greater confidence. However, even with a stronger knowledge and access to finance remains a major obstacle.
Yeah.
And collateral requirements and constraints, cash flow continue to be the primary reason for women-led SMEs struggle to obtain the funds.
Yeah.
So to address these barriers, we offer focused women business loans with favorable interest terms, which is up to 10% lower than our standard business loans. So we also accept secondary collateral up to a certain threshold to make the application and approval process more flexible and accessible for women entrepreneurs. However, these efforts alone cannot transform the broader ecosystem, and achieving meaningful and sustained progress requires a strong partnership and collective actions across the entire market. So government agencies and commercial banks, impact funds, local and international chamber of commerce, and development institutions all have a very critical role to play for from improving financial literacy and reducing policy barriers to expanding guarantee schemes, increasing risk sharing mechanisms, and providing targeted capacity building programs. So only I think that there is no only one solution.
No.
Maybe I'm being very pessimistic, but only through the coordinated collaboration we can create a substantial and sustainable impact that enable women businesses to fully participate and benefit from the international trade.
Absolutely, I agree with you. And while we celebrate all of the innovations that are happening that we've mentioned today, there's still an awful lot left to do to make this change throughout the world. So I completely agree with you, Unengerel. There's not one change, but that said, Lyda, I'm going to try and pop you on the spot and ask you what would be top of the list for changes that you'd like to see.
Yeah, so as Unengerel already mentioned earlier, just not the combination, that means only one thing can change. But
Yeah.
all the next, yes, but refer to your question, I think that the education is considered the biggest change for the women-led SME trying to participate more fully in the international trade. Given that the international trade involves the complex regulation, standard, and procedure. Education equip women entrepreneurs with the understanding of the import and export law, compliance with the international standard, market entry strategy, access funding and credit, understand the currency fluctuation and managing pricing and profitability. Once again, I recommend all the business owner, including the women-led SME, to consult with the formal financial institution to find the proper solution if they need. Yeah, that's all for me.
Brilliant, Lyda. Thank you so much. And thank you to both of you, Lyda and Unengerel, for joining us today, sharing your insights, all of those stories, all of those programs, all of the practical initiatives that are happening out there right now to support women-led SMEs in accessing trade finance and broader financial services. So we've heard today how education, partnerships, targeted programs can really help close those gaps that have historically held back women entrepreneurs, especially in emerging markets. And as we've discussed, financing is just so much more than a product. It's about awareness, education, capability, and building that very crucial ecosystem alignment. But by continuing to do this, to elevate women's access to finance, banks and development actors like ADB and the Trade and Supply Chain Finance Programme do play a vital role in unlocking growth opportunities for women-led businesses across the region. So thank you both ever so much again, and huge thanks to our audience for listening. We really hope you found this episode insightful and that it inspires you towards further action towards inclusive growth in finance and trade. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful.
And don't forget to follow Trade Treasury Payments
on your favorite podcast platform.
Thanks for listening.